Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Jet Fuel and Whiskey, the official podcast of the jet merchants and your unfiltered guide to private aviation. On today's episode, we're going to talk about flying private to the Masters, the logistics, the costs, and of course the parties hosted by some of the biggest private jet companies. So the Masters tournament at Augusta is the pinnacle of the golfing world. For those that are seeking an unparalleled experience, flying private is the ultimate way to attend this iconic event. However, navigating the logistics and the costs associated with private travel to Augusta, well, that requires careful planning and consideration. So I'm going to break that down for you today while touching on some of the notable private jet companies that are hosting some unique hospitality. We're also going to talk about some sample trip prices from different parts of the country. But first, I'd like to share my wingman for this episode, the legend himself, Colonel E.H. Taylor and a small batch straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey. This isn't just whiskey. It's a taste of history, crafted by Buffalo Trace. Taylor, the founding father of modern bourbon, revolutionized distilling after the Civil War at his OFC distillery. His innovative techniques, born in century-old Buffalo Trace warehouses, are still used today. This small batch, hand-selected from the best barrels, is a testament to his uncompromising legacy. It's a true sipping bourbon, with notes of caramel corn sweetness mingled with butterscotch and licorice. The aftertaste is a smooth mouthfeel that turns into subtle spices of pepper and tobacco, a tribute to the man who shaped American whiskey. Okay, so now let's get back to business, and let's talk about some airports. So, Augusta Regional Airport is the primary airport for all commercial and private arrivals during the Masters. A typical day at Augusta will have about 60 airplanes taking off and landing in a given day. But during the Masters week, there'll be between 100 and 300 flights daily. The airport has 2 runways and closes one of them down for parking, which is where you'll see Billionaires Row and hundreds of private jets. So one negative about Augusta Regional is that they don't allow cars on the ramp. So once you land on your private plane, you might have to sit around and wait for 15, 20, 30 minutes for the FBO van to come pick you up and bring you to the terminal. It's not the end of the world, but it's worth noting. So what are some of the alternate airports? For one, you have Daniel Field, which is actually a little bit closer to Augusta, and it's actually the preferred airport for those that are flying in private. Then you also have Aiken Municipal Airport, which is about 45 minutes away, and then you have Columbia Airport, which is a little bit over an hour. Both of those airports are good choices as well, and they have plenty of space for parking for your planes. But regardless of where you plan to land, you should really build in some flexibility because a lot can happen by the time that you take off to when you're almost getting ready to land. So make sure your plane is fully stocked with some fine pimento cheese sandwiches, some delicious cheese straws, and of course all the ingredients required to enjoy some delicious transfusions. Now let's talk about some of the fun stuff. You know, the real reason you're going to the Masters, besides the golf and maybe the potential to have a cold beer with John Daly at Hooters. It's the parties and the hospitality. So between walking the course all day and attending all these amazing hospitality experiences all night, you're definitely gonna need some comfortable shoes. So I wanna take a quick moment to thank one of our first sponsors of Jet Fuel and Whiskey, Osaga Shoes, for making this episode possible. Osaga was founded in the early 1970s as a pioneer of high-performance athletic shoes. Reimagined by the next generation of the original founders, Osaga designs high-quality retro shoes for your entire family. While preserving the original design's essence, the family has worked diligently to reconstruct a classic shoe for the modern world. Inspired by their past, excited for the future. Osaga, shoes for the human race. And as a special offer for those watching today, visit osaga.com and use promo code JMOSAGA25 for 25% off your entire purchase. That's going to be valid today through the Masters. Now back to hospitality. So you're going to have your staples such as Club Magnolia, Azalea House, dozens of private parties hosted by individuals and big corporations. Then of course you have Berkman's Place. Berkman's Place is a one-of-a-kind, multi-level VIP venue right behind the 5th Fairway, offering air conditioning, restaurants, and complimentary food and beverage. But still, no cell phones are allowed there. What's really cool about Berkman's Place is that it offers a full-size replica of the 7th, 14th, and 16th greens at Augusta. These are greens that golfers from all around the world wish to play, including this guy. So that experience, along with the week-long Masters Pass that accompanies it, can cost you as much as $6,000 or more. And only Masters sponsors and members can buy those tickets. But even those who fall into those categories may not be guaranteed a spot. And for those flying with certain private jet companies, you may have access to your own hospitality experience throughout the week. Some of the notable companies that are hosting hospitality this year are Wheels Up, NetJets, and VistaJet. And while Fly Alliance isn't necessarily hosting hospitality, they are running a promotion for certain qualifying jet cards that'll get you 2 free tickets to the Masters. You'll probably also see a handful of companies such as FlexJet that are going to be there at the airports to welcome their clients and provide some airport hospitality. So Wheels Up is on its 12th year of the Clubhouse Hospitality Experience, which is open to members and guests throughout their week. They'll have lots of athletes, celebrities, and partners coming through for daytime and nighttime hospitality. VistaJet is actually new to the Masters hospitality this year, and they're bringing their high-end silver and red service through what they're calling the Vista House, offering clients exclusive access to a private residence throughout the week. VistaJet clients will also have a unique opportunity to meet some of the sport's most celebrated golfers. They're offering daily shuttles, curated experiences, and the ability to play around a golf at Champions Retreat Golf Club, which I think is pretty neat. NetJets offers exceptional hospitality to its owners, partners, and guests during the Masters tournament. This year, attendees could look forward to a special performance by Noah Khan at the NetJets party. Additionally, they're providing an on-site Masters store, allowing guests to purchase merchandise without navigating the busy crowds at the main store on the course.
Somebody's closer.
Located right next to Augusta National, NetJets' hospitality venue offers immediate access for guests to take a break, check their phones, and quickly return to the action. So what does it cost to fly private to the Masters? Well, let's take a look at a few different trips from different parts of the country. But first, I'm going to share a really quick hack on how to fly private to Augusta for cheap. It doesn't exist. There's no way you're going to fly to Augusta for cheap if you're going private. It's expensive as hell, but you know what? You're going to love every single freaking minute of it, especially when you go down there with your family and friends, because it's the Masters and there's nothing else like it. So if you own your own airplane, have a fractional share, or you're part of a jet card program, you know exactly what it's going to cost for you to fly to Augusta, and you're going to have guaranteed access. Sure, there might be some premiums associated with that, but there's still going to be a sense of control over the cost and the experience of what you're going to get. But if you're not part of one of those programs or own an airplane, you're likely going to have to charter, which is fine, but you shouldn't wait till the last minute, because if you do, you're probably going to get raked over the coals, because there are a lot of airplanes going to Augusta, and you don't want to be the ones finding the last planes available. So here are a couple of estimated round-trip travel costs. To keep everything simple, we're going to assume that you're going to fly into the Masters on Thursday and that you're going to leave home Sunday afternoon. So first, let's start with one of the cheap trips. So let's say we're going to leave from here in Houston and we're going to take a 6-passenger light jet, like a Phenom 300 or Citation CJ3. For a trip like that, you're going to be in the $40,000 to $50,000 range for the round trip. If you have 6 people with you though, you're looking at around $8,000 a person, or about $4,000 each way. So now let's go to the Northeast and let's take a flight out of New York to Augusta. But this time, let's take an 8-passenger super mid like a Citation 10 or a Gulfstream G280. For a super mid jet out of New York for 8 people, you're going to expect to be anywhere around maybe $60,000 to $70,000 for that round trip. But with 8 people, you're still looking at around $8,000 a person. So now let's go out west. Let's go check out Scottsdale, another golf mecca. So let's say you want to take 13 people on a trip out of Scottsdale. Maybe you want to take a Gulfstream G450, a Falcon 900, or an Embraer Legacy 600. A trip like this, you're going to want to budget anywhere from about $100,000 to $120,000. But if you have 13 people, you're going to be around $9,000 a person. And now let's go across the pond for a real big trip. Let's say you're coming from Scotland, you know, the birthplace of golf, and you happen to actually hate money.
Look, your bum's out the windy means you're talking nonsense? Your bum's out the windy?
Well, then you could book an ultra long range jet like a Gulfstream G650 or a Global 7500. An airplane like that, let's say for 12 people, is going to run you anywhere from about $300,000 to $400,000. But if you have 12 people on that flight, you're looking around $30,000 a person round trip or $15,000 each way. But if it's just 2 people flying private, you're looking at about $200,000 a person. Yep, being rich is awesome. So let's talk about these landing and special event fees at Augusta Regional. All things being considered, these are actually pretty decent, and they run anywhere from about $200 to about $3,000 for the planes coming in and out. I say reasonable because I'm comparing that to the ridiculous pricing we just witnessed in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. It was like watching an episode of CSI New Orleans, where certain facilities, which won't be named, were charging up to $20,000 just for a large cabin airplane to land there. And then another $20,000 if you had to come back in and pick somebody back up. Luckily, all the crews and the passengers were given free Mardi Gras beads, so it all worked out in the end. So essentially, here's some tips for flying private to the Masters. Number 1, book early and have some flexibility. Expect for there to be delays, expect for diversions, and just roll with it. Again, if your plane is fully stocked with pimento cheese sandwiches, some good whiskey, some transfusions, it's all good. Number 2, if you're not part of a jet card program, own an airplane, or a fractional program, you're likely going to need to charter, which is fine. But don't get cute and try to negotiate pricing, especially at the last minute. If you do, you're going to get stuck flying commercial, which Lord knows we don't want to do, or you're going to end up watching the Masters on TV. And you're going to miss out on that opportunity to go have a cold pitcher beer at Hooters with John Daly. Number 3, make sure that you work with a reputable private jet provider that also has experience at these types of high-profile events. You should also ask them what their backup plan is in the event that your aircraft is no longer available a few days leading up to your departure. And number 4, like I said, there's going to be a lot of walking, so make sure that you bring a pair of comfortable shoes, just like these Osagas. So flying private is great, obviously, but having the ability to fly private to the Masters at Augusta with family and friends, that's just an incredible experience. Just make sure you plan the right way, have some flexibility, and have fun. Thanks again for watching this week's episode of Jet Fuel and Whiskey, the official podcast of the Jet Merchants and your unfiltered guide to private aviation. Cheers.